Hello there and welcome back to a new video. India has achieved tremendous economic growth in this last decade. Nobody disagrees with that. When Donald Trump visited Gujarat in 2020, he made these 7 claims about India's growth, which was fact-checked by BBC, so we can trust it. Trump said that since the turn of the century, the size of Indian economy has grown over 6 times. India was able to lift 270 million people out of poverty by 2018. The road connectivity and infrastructure of the country almost doubled in 1 decade. The government built 10,000 kilometers of road in 2018 to 19. Almost every village in India now has electricity, and about 320 million people have internet connectivity. 600 million people have access to basic sanitation, with 100 million toilets built by the government. But then the question posed at any emerging or developing country, or any country for that matter, is whether this economic growth is translating into people's lives. Is this growth trickling down to the level of the household or the individual? Are the people's lives and their living standards being improved with this economic growth? A great way to estimate this is by looking at the purchasing power parity of the individual. Between 2014 to 22, India's GDP per capita, which is a measure of income per head, rose from $5,000 to over $7,000, an increase of roughly 40% in 8 years. India becomes the 3rd largest economy on the basis of GDP per capita or purchasing power parity, while it remains the 5th largest economy just on the basis of GDP. Another very important indicator of this trickling down of the economic growth is the employment rate. That is, how many jobs were created during this time of economic growth. Or if you look at it in another way, how many people are unemployed, or how many people cannot find jobs in the midst of this economic growth. And that's where things take a wrong turn when it comes to Indian economy. India Employment Report 2024, which was jointly released by International Labour Organization and the Institute of Human Development, says that the share of youths in India's total unemployed population in 2022 was nearly 83%. And of that population, 65.7% were educated youth. But according to RBI, around 8 crore jobs were created in the past 3 to 4 years. These were attributed to self-employment rather than stable formal jobs. And it was also a fact that there are 500 million job opportunities in India right at this moment. So with all this confusing statistics, let's look at the complex issue of unemployment in India. India's unprecedentedly steep economic growth is definitely brought about by the advantageous demographic dividend. That is the number of people who are in the working age. India is currently in this demographic dividend window, which started at about 2005 to 6 and is expected to continue till 2055 to 56. Between 2020 to 2030, the country is set to add 10.1 crore people to its working age population, and it is expected to provide about 24.3% of world's additional workforce in the next decade. But where are all these young people finding their jobs from, or their means of income? For Maharashtra police, 18 lakh applicants applied for just 1,700 jobs. The central government has disclosed that between 2014 to 2022, a staggering 22.05 crore job applications were submitted for various central government departments, but only a mere 7.22 lakh candidates, that is just 0.33%, were actually selected. Nearly 13 lakh people applied for the UPSC prelims, where there were just 1,255 positions open. And in the other side of the scenario, like I said before, are 50 million job opportunities left unfilled in India. Sectors like information technology and financial services are already sounding the alarm because of the growing skills gap. TCS has reported that it has 80,000 positions to fill. This financial sector is also challenged, with 18 lakh vacancies left unfulfilled. This is happening because of the skill mismatch between the jobs being created and the job aspirants, and obviously an unwillingness to let go of the tried and tested traditional paths of employment in India, even though the country is looking for different ways of growing itself. They fixate on government jobs, where they just have to write a competitive exam and maybe give a physical examination, and they get secured jobs. Or they are turning back to the agriculture and related activities for employment. But then the people who do have the skill to work in these positions are rather moving out of the country because of better pay and better living standards abroad. So the talent that India has created is not being retained within the country, while the existing talent is deemed unemployable. And this is something that Sanjeev Sanyal, a member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, calls as the poverty of aspirations rather than the unavailability of jobs, because people are not ready to take that plunge or to take that risk to go into innovative, creative and new fields of study or work. We are starting to slowly see that change, where people are willing to take that risk and take that chance and do what they like or what they love to do. So that might get reflected in the economy soon. And when people will start investing more in innovative, creative, risk-taking ideas, then the jobs will be generated on their own in a much easier way. The manufacturing sector is the largest creator of jobs in any economy, especially the developed and advanced economy. But India's manufacturing sector has never really taken off. India was a closed economy up until 1990, and the growth was very bad, very dismal. But Narasimha Rao privatized, globalized and liberalized Indian economy in 1991, and it formalized the private sector jobs. About 70% of the population were removed from the agricultural sector, which was really flooded with workers, which is also called disguised unemployment. And they were removed from the agriculture sector and were placed in these private jobs. But still, manufacturing sector did not really take off. The consecutive governments have really tried to bring in more FDI and more technology into the manufacturing sector of our country. 2 terms of the Modi government is no exception. To increase the manufacturing sector's share in GDP from 16% to 25% by 2025. With a 9% increase in the share in GDP, it is expected to reach 20% by 2031. So with that shift in the manufacturing sector's share in GDP, a lot more jobs will be created, or a lot more people will be employed in the manufacturing sector, where they don't require the formal education or skill set. But as Krishnamurthy Subramaniam, who is the former chief economic advisor, points out, manufacturing basically needs land, labor, capital, power, and logistics. Our entrepreneurs face between 15% to 20% higher cost on all of these inputs as compared to their global peers. Therefore, it's still very costly or difficult to do business in the manufacturing sector, and it is up to the state governments to improve their individual policies so as to attract more FDI or more companies into their lands. Another area where India lacks in is the MSME, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. With 27% share in India's GDP, is the second largest provider of employment after agriculture. But there is not enough credit available for MSMEs, and they really suffer from a lack of infrastructure, facilities and any investment. And that has become a major problem. The RBI says that it has created 8 crore jobs, but most of those jobs are in the MSME sector or are self-employed, which is once again the MSME sector. But they are disorganized. There is no formalization or standardization in this sector. Therefore, people don't even count them as formal jobs. One could also say that the entire manufacturing sector in India has fallen into the MSMEs, because these are our manufacturers. They produce things for us, and that is not taking off as we want them to. India's labor market is divided between agriculture, which is the largest contributor of employment but not doing so well GDP wise, the IT sector, which is the largest contributor to the GDP but is not able to find enough workers, and the manufacturing sector, which is in really bad shape. So there is always the question, what will the government focus on? Will it be the agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, or the information sector? The governments cannot risk abandoning the information sector for the manufacturing sector, because otherwise that would completely damage the economy of the country. But it is really needed that the agriculture and manufacturing sector are focused more in order to create the amount of jobs. The more the government is really focusing on developing and formalizing the manufacturing sector in India, future of employment in India would be in focusing on agriculture and manufacturing, which would develop the MSMEs, and also on retaining the talent that we are creating through our education system. That would translate into a lot of jobs by 2030, hopefully. So that is what this video is all about. Please let me know in the comment section what you think. How do you think that India is going to fill this gap? Let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And until we meet next time, well, it goes without saying that I don't have a sponsor yet. But not to worry, I will sponsor my own video. More precisely, my book will. This is the first book that I wrote. It's a realistic fiction novel about 4 teens in a city enmeshed in a life of drugs, love, violence and chaos. A tale of isolation and desperation one feels among known strangers in an unknown city. Well, this book is available on Amazon and Flipkart. The links will be in the description. I will also share the link to the video trailer of the book, so check them out.